The White House seems caught off guard by the VA scandal, but they seem caught off guard by the sun. I haven't seen an entity more constantly surprised by its own ineptitude since Brick Tamland. That's him. How did this happen? Well, this is what you get when, for president, you elect a Navy captain, a war hero, held captive for 5 years. Oh, wait, we didn't. Well, then you get what you pay for, and everything comes with a price. So what do we get for turning an election into self-expression theater? The first selfie administration, one that puts whiners before warriors, flux over forces. Commencement speakers say get involved, but they really mean self-involved, and that means serving you, not your country. Using fake concern, selfishness is the new selflessness, and real sacrifice is viewed as sucker's work. This perversion of priority is helped by an absent media. Once the watchdog, now the lapdog. They give Obama a pass on all things because he's like them. He's their selfie. This leads to a White House that shuns responsibility as it clumsily bumps into real-world chaos as if it just learned to walk. It's no wonder vets feel like toys in the attic a country no longer needs. They serve us and then expect help from those whose ideology mocks them. Please, you've been to Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, Korea, Germany, but you really need to get out more. Build a solar-powered windmill, then we'll talk. So, KG, we've had the ATF, the IRS, the DOJ, the NSA, now the VA. We're running out of letters to make up for these scandals.
If only we could develop a new alphabet,
yes.
Add some more scandals to the roster, because that's the only thing this administration seems to do really, really well. Is one scandal after the next, call for an investigation, then sit on the documents, then you have to get an outside nonprofit agency to submit a FOIA request only to get thousands and thousands of pages of things that have been redacted and blacked out. So the most, quote, transparent administration has turned out to be the one that in fact is the cement block administration.
Bob, they're going to be looking at 26 facilities, so this isn't going to go away, is it?
No, it's not going to go away. And by the way, you said that the press was, I mean, look at the front page of every newspaper. It's all about
For how long?
Well, how long was it before that Phoenix station did it? Nobody else got in touch with it. The Republicans didn't say anything about it. The other thing I'd say is you can call all these things scandals you want. Until you got a smoking gun, until you prove that somebody's done something wrong, I'd be careful about calling it a scandal. Watergate was a scandal. Iran-Contra was a scandal. This is yet to be a scandal.
Why? 40 people are dead because there was a secret waiting list in Phoenix, and there could be a whole hell of a lot more. That's not scandalous?
No, well, it's scandalous. Of course it's scandalous, but it's the people in Phoenix who did the list.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
But the way you're assuming it is you're saying Obama's responsible for those 40 people being dead.
I didn't say that. I never once said he was responsible for the 40 people being dead. I said he said he was going to take responsibility going forward. He was going to fix things. He didn't. No, but he's blamed Bush. He's blamed the GOP in Congress. He said he hadn't heard about it yet until he saw it on the news. And he said he didn't have enough money to do certain things. He's blamed everything except for what he should be doing, blaming Eric Shinseki. He's the guy, he's the coach of the team that's losing. You fire the coach. You can't fire the whole team. You have to start over otherwise. But I have a suggestion. Let's instead of pointing fingers, let's move the ball forward a little bit. Why not take one VA, test case, start over, privatize the whole thing, bring in your own people, see how it works. Whatever you learn in the test case, apply it to all the VAs around the country. I'm not saying change the VAs. I'm saying this works, let's keep it. This doesn't work, let's fix it. But use that as a test case.
But that's best practices. That's what they do in the free market, and you reward that. Because what works, you stick with what doesn't. And Bob, bottom line is Obama and the administration knew about this as far back as 2008. So what have you done for me lately?
They knew about the problems with the overburden of the VA. Yes, that's right. Not about Phoenix.
Won't most of the criticism, Andrea, they'll always reflect on the right being partisan, no matter what? I mean, the media will always say it's just another attack on Obama and not an actual legitimate issue.
And liberalism, right? So if there's anything to be learned from this lesson, liberalism fails, big government fails, and conservatism wins. That really should be the message. That every time you have government delivering a service, from the post office to the DMV to the VA, people who work in government monopolies are not incentivized to succeed. They deliver crappy services. They deliver long lines. The quality is just terrible. There's not a lot of choice. And I've held up British headlines. Yesterday I read from an article in the UK. The White House knows this. Donald Berwick, who used to head up Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, said that he loves the NHS in the UK. They love the Canadian healthcare system. This is exactly what it is. And you know what it should put to rest finally, this VA scandal or push for big government? The single payer. This is single payer. It's just like Medicaid, and it doesn't work. And you know what they should do? Test case isn't bad. Maybe Phoenix is a good place to start. And you know what they should model it after? The charter school system. Tax credits, vouchers, allow these veterans that are on these waiting lists to use a voucher and go to another hospital or pick 3 different hospitals and see how it works. You know, it took Hurricane Katrina, Greg, to sweep in and destroy New Orleans. Now they brought in a charter school system. Sensational results for those students. We owe that idea to our veterans.
You're not saying we need a hurricane.
Now, I'm not saying we need a maybe the figurative hurricane of conservatism or something like that.
There you go.
I was going to say, if it's all failing, let me see, does the air traffic control fail? Does NASA fail? Does the Department of Agriculture fail? Does the highway system fail? I mean, where you're talking about failure? I mean, everybody's ready to jump on the government for everything. Do you want to listen? The way you listen to you people, you might as well do away with government altogether.
I'm for that.
Well, yeah,
except for the military and the roads.
Bunch of con artists from Wall Street, right? That's what you want to do.
No, because they don't defend our country. Hey, can I just run? I want to go to this sound on tape. But President Obama, when he's asked about Shinseki, whether he has offered his resignation, roll.
Has Secretary Shinseki offered to resign, and if he's not to blame, then who is?
Rick Shinseki, I think, serves this country because he cares deeply about veterans, and he cares deeply about the mission. I know that Rick's attitude is if he does not think he can do a good job on this, and if he thinks he's let our veterans down, then I'm sure that he is not going to be interested in continuing to serve.
So, KG, this was an interesting response because he's saying that I would never ask him to resign, but if he feels like he's not doing a good job, he would go. It's kind of a wishy-washy, to be polite, a wishy-washy answer.
Well, yeah, because you expect the President of the United States to say something of substance, to come up with an idea, not to just say that he's angry or outraged about something. And here he's taking a pass, right? He's just saying, okay, well, if Shinseki thinks that he's not doing a good job and he's not serving the veterans, then he should step down. I think it was very clear during those hearings that this 4-star general has no intention of stepping down. And what you heard from this conversation is the commander-in-chief has no intention of asking him to relieve his position.
Well,
so where are we now?
There's another 4-star
Where
general.
are the veterans?
I think he's a 4-star. Is Petraeus a 4-star general? Anyway, however many stars he has. He said today that the VA provided excellent service, did thousands of procedures every day. He was not willing to see Shinseki go until he saw some evidence. Now, here's a guy that has a lot of soldiers who have reported to him. He knows a lot about the VA, and he says they get an excellent treatment. That's enough for me, more than from you guys.
But Bob, I got to tell you, every time we do this topic, you go home, you go to Twitter, you go to Facebook, the letters that you get from just everyday soldiers, nothing good to say about their treatment at the VA.
Right.
They go there and they're afraid that they're going to get worse. I work with people who tell me that the VA is terrible. So there's a lot of I'm not a fan of anecdotal evidence. Yeah, that's not fun.
That's why this isn't going to go away, because you're going to hear story after story after story. And most veterans like the VA until they get sick. Right? Everyone loves free health care until they actually get really ill, have to stand in line, have to wait to get a doctor's appointment. And another thing with the VA, they have the worst prescription drug plan because there's no competition. We are giving our veterans the crappiest drugs imaginable. And Bob, you say that the system's great, it works, it's wonderful.
I didn't say it was great. I said that
you said it was good enough for
you. It's
you.
failed for a really long time.
Trey said it's okay, so it's good enough for you.
You just dismissed
40 are dead
it.
so far. We don't know how many more are going to die on these waiting lists.
And how many people are dead in the
confirmed suicide.
in the free market hospital
According
system.
to Shinseki, it was an isolated incident. We went from that to now we got something like 26 different states are talking about secret waiting lists.
And all the whistleblowers are coming forward.
How many people do you think die in hospitals of the free market system?
I don't know. I'm not sure, Bob.
Probably hundreds of thousands.
But I think you'd rather be in a free market hospital.
And these people,
no, I wouldn't.
These are the people.
I take a VA hospital over a free market hospital any day.
Really?
Any day.
All right, we should try that.
These are the people who should be getting better treatment than the average person walking into the
What about the doctors? What about the doctors you praised on all the different illnesses and medical things that you've had gone and you said how great they were?
There are a lot of very good and very committed doctors at the VA. I'm just saying, let's not throw everything out here, the baby out with the bathwater, by saying because you had this incident in Phoenix and maybe other facilities, there's 254
I agree.
something like that.
I agree with you. There are a lot of great people that work at the VA, and I think that you can't malign everybody over this, what I believe is, though, when you're looking at 26 or 27 places, it seems almost endemic. Can we move to the second shot? This is President Obama coming out of the gate saying he will not tolerate misconduct. or not?
When I hear allegations of misconduct, any misconduct, whether it's allegations of VA staff covering up long wait times or cooking the books, I will not stand for it. Not as Commander-in-Chief, but also not as an American. None of us should. So, if these allegations prove to be true, it is dishonorable, it is disgraceful, and I will not tolerate it, period.
Can I take this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fine. I will not tolerate it. I'll hold them accountable. I will not stand for it. But you stop short. Or else what? Or who's going to get fired? Is anyone get fired? I listened to that whole press conference. He never said that.
Yeah.
He never said heads will roll.
Right.
These people will be fired. They'll be removed. And by the way, wait till we find out how many people are stealing money from the VA. Wait till we find out how many people are purchasing managers and whatnot, and they're lining their own pockets. This thing is just beginning to break open, Bob. I guarantee you can't say it's a few isolated incidents.
You're not
it's
suggesting
going to blow wide open now.
You're not suggesting Obama knew about these.
I'm suggesting if you spend $154 billion, doubling the budget over the last 5 years, there's going to be a lot of waste.
Which is about what the taxpayers did to bail out most of your buddies in Wall Street.
All right, that's called deflection, Andrea.
And I'm sure that after this investigation that he kept referring to, the solution will be throw more money at the problem, which won't fix it. I don't think that Eric Shinseki is the problem here. I don't. I think if you make him resign and do this sort of predictable Republican thing to say he should step down, they're just going to replace him with somebody who's not as decorated and is not as
he's a good man. He is a disabled veteran.
Well, he's not to be conflated with Kathleen Sebelius. And I think a lot of people are just saying, oh, this is just a top of the agency issue. I don't agree with that. But something has to be done. And what bothers me about President Obama is when he stands up at the podium, how many days after this story, feeling pressure because we're coming on Memorial Day, and he pretends like he's not a part of the government, right? Like he criticizes the government and he gets really angry, but he is the government. And Greg, even if he's the smartest president in the world and he has magical powers, he can't even fix this. It doesn't even matter who he fires or who he hires. The problem is too huge that right now the only answer I say is to put some competition in the VA.
But you know what's scary? What if there was no growing outrage? Because generally vets, by their nature, don't complain.
Right.
They're too modest to complain. If people like us aren't yelling, would he even respond?
But that's the point. He doesn't respond because he already knew about this to begin with, again, that there were these problems with the VA. So if it was supposed to be a priority and we're supposed to be giving our veterans the very best that we have, because they have already earned this right to have excellent medical and health care, right? So this is a failure on the part of the United States to deliver this to them. The president should have made that an utmost priority, especially that the issue was highlighted. Hold on, Bob. They chose not to. So the fact that it's like feigned outrage right now is just, it's disheartening. It's just not enough. He can get up there and say these platitudes that he's upset or angry about it, but he's not doing anything constructive to fix it.
And these problems go back to Ronald Reagan, George Bush, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton. It's a bipartisan situation. The VA has been in trouble.
Do you know how many veterans who can afford it will go to the VA for just their prescriptions and then go to another doctor to get treatment?
I thought Andrew said they were lousy prescriptions.
But they're cheap.
Yeah.
And they're free.
Cheap.
Well,
very cheap.
So they'll go to the VA, get the prescription, then go to a doctor and try and get fixed.
Well, they go and get pain meds at the VA, and they get the other stuff elsewhere.
They can't find good doctors at the VA?
I'm saying that they're not the cream of the crop.
I think all you
no,
people
they're
who are
good
out of
doctors,
power.
Bob. But anytime you disincentivize people to work really hard, like the post office, you get slower service, and you keep adding more patients because of the wars that you brought up. So they're not able to perform. There's no incentive for them to outperform. There's no autocorrect for really terrible service.
The vast majority of people working at the VA perform exceptionally well.
I think even the doctors are frustrated by it, too. And many of the reports detail that, for example, a cardiologist there will see 2 patients a day, where a normal cardiologist in private practice will see 8 heart patients a day. So there's a failure to serve there.
I think that Bob's point has to be well taken, which is this does go back a long way. But the difference here, Bob, is that the media is different. The media is no longer functioning as the watchdog the way it used to back then, which enables things like this to fester, and things like Benghazi and the IRS, because they don't want to tick off President Obama. So this stuff, it grows like black mold. And I think it's been around, but I think it's worse because the media is no longer watching.
I still have black mold in my bathroom.
That is so gross.
Thank you for that.
All right.
What else is in
All right.
your apartment?